Hello and welcome to the first lesson of programming using JavaScript. So, today we're going to be learning a few things. We're going to learn about drawing. We're going to learn about, what else? Drawing, variable, commenting, and what else should we learn about? Well, that's basically the two first ones that we're going to learn about. So, there is a few parts to drawing. So, there is the rect function, ellipse, fill, no stroke. So, these are the first four that I'm going to be teaching you about, because almost everything you draw using code will be made out of a rectangle, oval, and will be filled with some color and will have stroke or no stroke. So, let's get right in. So, when you're programming, you have this area here. This is the canvas. It's 400 by 400 pixels wide. So, in here, when you're choosing to draw something, you choose whereabouts you want by saying 200 pixels X, 200 pixels Y, and they will meet somewhere in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is the first rect function. What it says is you want a rectangle, you want it at 200x, this is always the x coordinate, 200, 200y, and you want it 20 pixels wide and 20 pixels tall. So 20 pixels wide, 20 pixels tall. Now whenever you're coding, you always have it go to the top left corner. So that little pixel there is exactly 200 by 200 pixels from X and Y. Now, what I'm going to teach you about is the ellipse. This is basically the same. Oh, and remember, always end each statement with a semicolon. What I did here is I did the exact same coordinates, the exact same rules apply for an ellipse. But as you can see, it's in a slightly different location. This is because when you are programming with an ellipse, these coordinates go to the center, the O point of the ellipse, not to the top left hand corner, because that won't work on an ellipse. So it goes to the center. So the point of the center of the ellipse and also the top left hand corner of the rectangle or square is at the very point right about there. So they're at the same point. Now I'm going to teach you about the fill function. To use fill, you're simply coloring it in. This is the amount of red you have. This is the amount of red you have, right there. So if we change 0, 0, 0, it will all be black. This is the amount of green. And then this is the amount of blue. The max amount that you can have of one color is 255. So you could max out all the red, green, and blue is 255, and you will get white. So that is the basic function of the fill. Pretty easy. Now we got stroke and no stroke. So we can write no stroke. No stroke. And that will mean that there is no boundaries on our shapes. There's no borders. So if we color them in, we can clearly see there is no black outlines on our shapes. To put back in an outline, you simply write stroke. Oh. And it should come back in. Okay, cut that. So, now that we've learned about the stroke, the fill, the rectangle, and the ellipse, we can now draw almost anything. I will now show you one of the things that I've built using simply rectangles and ellipses. Okay, now as you can see from this, I've created a sun, 3 ellipses for the clouds with no stroke, and then I've created some little sheep using lines too. Line is another function but is quite difficult to use because it's quite annoying, so I'm not going to go into that today. So as you can see, the lines are only used for the legs, which is not important as I could have used a rectangle. As you can see, I've also created the ground using a giant green rectangle, and I've created what we call a background. It colours the whole canvas a specific colour. So if I change this to red, it changes the whole canvas to red, except of course all of the pieces that I've put in. As you can see, I've also put in comments. These comments will help you when you come back later to your program and might want to add to it, or if someone else is reading the program. It helps a lot, as you know exactly what each of these is doing. This ellipse is the sun, whereas if I didn't have that, I wouldn't know what on earth this ellipse was, whether it was a part of the sheep, part of a cloud, or a part of the sun. Thanks to comments, I now know this is colouring the sun, and this is making the sun. Also, with the clouds, the sheep, both sheep. As you can see, it's quite hard. It's quite annoying that I had to do sheep twice. And later on, I'll show you a trick to be able to do 2 sheep using only 1 piece of code. But that's for another day. Okay, here we are back at lesson 1. So, today we have learnt about the rectangle, the rect function, the ellipse function, the fill function, the no stroke and stroke function, along with extras being background and comments. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and remember to like and subscribe for more. Thank you all for watching.